that. And I can't wait to hear what you have to say about our sunscreen and keeping our skin healthy.
Yeah, so thank you, Gina, for having me on your channel. And I'd love to talk, since it's the season, as Gina and I talked about, of sunscreen. And I know I've talked about it, and I can't talk about it enough because it's just so important for so many reasons, not just aesthetically, but for to ward off the skin cancers as well. So first, I'm just going to dive in, if it's okay with you, Gina, about sunscreen.
Yeah, jump on in, Mary.
Okay, so sunscreen. There are many different types for all of us to be aware of.
Actually, Mary, if you don't mind, if I can back you up a little bit,
sure.
If you can tell us a little bit about, you know, who you are and your company and where we can find you, so people understand that you are an expert in your field.
Oh, well, thank you, Gina. So yes, I'm Mary McGovern, and I am the owner of Skin Health Plus, which is a skincare line designed for women over 50. So if you're over 50, this talk is for you. And I've been a nurse for over 40 years, and worked with skin throughout my whole career, worked on a burn unit, and then ultimately worked in aesthetic offices and with skin exclusively, and all that goes along with that, with education of your skin and all that. So that's who I am. And you can find me on Instagram and on Facebook under Mary McGovern 007 and Skin Health Plus as well. And I have a group called, oh gosh, because I'm live, I can't even think of Women of a Certain Age List. And that's my group. And I'd be so honored if you wanted to join. And we share tips and trades of being over 50, not just skincare, but all sorts of fun things. So that's who I am, Gina.
I'm just sharing it out on other platforms. So, okay, so to back up a little bit, I am here with Mary McGovern from Skin Health Plus, and she is the owner of Skin Health Plus. And not only is Mary a nurse for 40 years, as she said, she has lots of experience in working in a burn unit, et cetera, et cetera. But Mary, you are the expert. Tell us, what do we need to know besides we must wear our sunscreen? How much do we wear? What kind? Why? All that other good stuff.
Right. So most importantly, I don't care what brand you want to use. Of course, I'm going to say my brand, Skin Health Plus, but you need to wear sunscreen. Whether it's cloudy or sunny outside, the UV rays are very, very potent. So when you are looking for a sunscreen, you want to make sure on the label it says broad spectrum sunscreen. I don't know if you guys can see that, or maybe on this bigger bottle, broad spectrum sunscreen. Now, the reason you want to look for that broad spectrum sunscreen is because that's going to cover both the UVA and the UVB rays of the sun. The UVA are responsible for the aging of our skin. The UVB is responsible for the burning of our skin. Some sunscreens do not contain both of those factors. And that is really a key to a very good sunscreen. All broad spectrum sunscreens are tested by the FDA. Now, when you're looking for a sunscreen as well, you want to make sure it's an SPF, a sun protection factor of 30 or higher. Now, the reason dermatologists like you to use SPF 30 or higher is they're not really proponents of 100% SPF, because then you get a false sense of protection, because no sunscreen is 100% effective at blocking the sun's rays. And it's interesting, SPF of a 30 is 98.3% effective. And then the effectiveness goes up in decimals. It's not like what you'd think, like if you get a 50, it's going to be 30% higher than a SPF 30. It's a very minimal amount. So if it's very, very expensive, you're fine with just an SPF of 30, according to dermatologists and everything. So that's the first.
I have heard that, Mary, but everywhere I see it's like 50, 80. So what you're saying is don't even bother, as long as
don't even worry about it. If it's SPF 30 or above, you're fine. And then what the most important factor is how much you're applying, because that's how they test it. They test it on a little square patch of skin with a certain amount, and it's a crazy amount, to see when it's going to burn and cause problems. So this is the killer, you guys. Here's the amount. And I was just telling Gina, this is the shot glass. This is a shot glass of sunscreen. I use
Wow.
this banana boat here. Took me 32 pumps to get this amount. And this is the amount you're going to slather on your body every 2 hours, unless you go into the water and then you want to reapply. So every 2 hours, you need to put this amount of sunscreen on. So if you consider, I didn't bring that one, or did I? That you go with a family of 4, is this, okay, so if this was an 8-ounce bottle, although this is a 10-ounce bottle, family of 4, and you stayed out for 4 hours, if this was an 8-ounce bottle, it would be all gone. Now, I don't think anybody, I know,
Nobody's doing that.
nobody does that. Nobody does that. So it's very important that you put on more than you think you should. That's the bottom line. And so for your face, now I excluded the face. Your face is special, and because that's always exposed to the sun day and night, even if it's not sunny out and it's winter, your face, unless you're wearing a ski mask, which I hope we don't get to that point in any kind of pandemic, you will, yeah, right. You will want to put on about the size of a nickel, which is 1/4 of a
That
teaspoon.
looks like a lot, Mary.
It is a lot. It is a lot, but that's the amount you need. And I do put on this much, I swear, for protection of your face. Now with sunscreens, there's a couple different types. So there's chemical sunscreens and there's physical sunscreens. And that's just a preference. And some are a blend of 2 different types, both chemical and physical. Chemical sunscreens are just like what they say, chemical. So if you're using a chemical sunscreen, you want to apply it about 20 minutes before you go out in the sun. So that's a little tip for you, because it takes a while to absorb into your skin. A physical sunscreen is like titanium oxide, zinc oxide, those whitening ones. And those are made from just a physical, like, I don't want to call it a stone, but like a mineral that they make very, very fine. It's a mineral that's found in the earth. And that causes an actual block of the sun hitting rays, bouncing off, where the chemical actually absorbs the rays and then disperses them. That is the difference between the 2. So
How do you feel about the sprays?
okay, so I have a spray here. I feel that sprays give you a false sense of protection, because I don't believe you're getting enough. But if you're using any sunscreen is better than no sunscreen. So I'm okay with what, of course, if you're trying, but spray on way more than you think you're going to need. That's crazy, but true. And the other thing is, just be careful you're not breathing in the spray. That's another thing I always think of. I prefer the lotions, just because you feel like you're getting a good amount. You know what you're getting on the skin.
Now,
So
one more question for women. Now, I know you recommend using a different type, the heavier for your face. What about here? Because this is where we tend to get a little all wrinkly from the sun.
yes, we do. So the décolleté is very important. Make sure I say I use what I'm using for my face on my décolleté, because your décolleté needs, so usually a sunscreen made just for your face, if it's a higher end, will have botanicals and other ingredients that are softening and nourishing to your skin. So you want to make sure you hit that really hard. And that's every day, whether it's cloudy out or sunny out, because most of us, you and I both, have like nice little V-necks on, and the sun, you don't think about it, but even in your car, it's hitting on your skin. And as we know, when we get older, that's when we start to see the effects of the sun. But even more important, I want all you people to know, as we age and are lucky enough to become in our 50s and 60s and beyond, our skin becomes thinner, which also means it's going to burn easier. It just, because it is thinner. So you want to make sure you really do protect yourself. So that's pretty much sunscreen in a quick nutshell. There's a lot more to it than just that, but those are the highlights. Do you have any other questions?
I have a question, and
yes.
So you may want to talk about this. I noticed in the summer I get, and I feel like I have pretty good skin for
yes,
for my age. It might be my Portuguese blood here, but I feel like I have all little bumps on it. And I think what happens is I come back from the beach and I forget to wash my face until I take my shower. So the
Right.
sunscreen is reacting, and I'm like, why do I have this acne on my face? And my daughter was saying the same thing. And I started thinking about it. I'm like, it just happened this summer, but I think it's the sunscreen. Because sometimes I'll water my flowers and I'll be dilly-dally and I won't take my shower for, a few hours. And so any tips and suggestions on cleansing and getting that sunscreen off your face?
Well, yes, definitely after being out in the sun, especially at the beach where you're sweating a lot, definitely wash off your sunscreen. However, I am going to suggest that you and your daughter try some different, I know it's expensive, but try some different sunscreens, or maybe
Okay.
even ask for samples at Ulta or wherever, because you really should not be having to, and I know that happens a lot. It might be one little ingredient in the sunscreen.
Oh, okay. That's a good tip, Mare.
Yeah, because I can wear, and this might not be for you, and there's a Neutrogena one out. I can wear a sunscreen made for the face. Only ones that are made for the face. We're literally all day, every day, and keep applying and not get those little bumps. So I believe it may be a mixture of both, but I would try to get some samples of different sunscreens that may work for you, because everybody's different. We're all different, beautiful, delicate flowers. So, but
Great. Thanks for the tip. I hadn't even
yeah,
thought about that. I thought maybe you were going to tell me some way to scrub it off or something, but so I like that even better. So what about those people, Mary, that have already gotten a couple of little age spots? I know I have one here I've been nurturing for years from sun damage. Do you have any suggestions for them?
I sure do. So there's many different ways so there's a couple ways. So what I always tell people is obviously wear your sunscreen in the summer, try to avoid the sun at the most highest peaks, because that will accelerate. So what those are called age spots, liver spots, but basically it's called hyperpigmentation. And that can be caused by many different things: changes in hormones, sun damage, injury. It can cause these kind of hyperpigmentations. Now, there's different ways to address that. And what I like to tell clients is one of the most effective ways, first off, is to go get some kind of light therapy, whether it be IPL, BBL. There's many ways, I know. And then
Where,
beyond that is a
where do you get,
daily.
where, can I interrupt? Where do you get
Mhm.
light therapy, Mary? And what
Oh,
exactly is it?
so light therapy you can get at dermatologist's office, plastic surgeon's office. Medi spas have light therapies, and those are very effective. Usually they're a broad spectrum light therapy, as opposed to a laser, which is one single ray of light of a certain level. But depending on what your sun damage is, will determine what they use, if that makes sense.
Oh,
They
okay.
would assess your skin, give you some recommendations. Now, after that, or if you can't afford that, because it is pricey, there are absolutely effective, but they take a lot of time to get to that point of dispersing the hyperpigmentation. Skin Health Plus has one. There's many out there. Mine's called Pro Bright. And what this does is it breaks up that melanin in the skin and disperses the coagulation and lightens it up. But it takes a while. So what I usually suggest people do is, if it's really bothering them, because we're all different. For some people, it might be one little spot, doesn't bother them. But for some people, it might be some big spot and they go get it treated. Then to preventative, you use the lightening therapy to prevent that melanin from coagulating again, if that makes sense.
Good to know. Absolutely.
Yeah, but everybody's different, and you may find it very effective just to use a brightener, such as Pro Bright, or there's some hydroquinone. I don't use that one, but that's effective too. That takes a prescription, and there are others out there. But depending on the skin and the person and how long they're willing to wait for the results, is what I tell people.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
good
yeah,
advice.
yeah.
I'm going to have to try that. Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So
And so,
I have another question, Mayor, and I know like you are, I mean, I see you on vacation, you walk the walk. I see you with your hat and your sun protection clothing on, and you're under the umbrella and you're doing all the right things. How do you feel about hats and the UV protected clothing? I know when my children were little, and this was going back 20 years ago, I can remember really searching and looking for UV, like a little tent that I used to put them in.
Yes.
And I often wondered, I was like, is this really protecting them? So I just wondered what your thoughts are on that, and if you've done any
Okay.
research.
Yeah, so I am so for, of course, I'm so for it. And it does protect. And same like the sunscreen, it's called UVP protection. I forget what it's like the same idea, but for material. And it's tested and all that. So it's become really cool that there's so many different brands out there. And the shirt I have on right now, I want to show this one because it's really cute. It's like a little mesh, so it keeps you nice and light. But this is an SPF or let me look. I have a little tag here. This is, I think they call it an SPF 30, but sometimes they call it UVP. And this is called
Oh, I see.
SunSense.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Here's another little one, all meshy thin. So you're not going to be hot, because
Right.
it is summer, but you're going to be protected. So if
I
you're going
love
out to lunch,
that.
right? If you're going out lunch with your girlfriends, you have this cute little jacket on, you're the one that gets, the sun on the back. Look at that. Right?
Love it.
So I am all for the it's either UPF or SPF sun.
Do you remember where you found that, Mary?
Yeah, so I got this at a golfing outlet store.
Oh,
Yeah. So golfing or any of those active wear. Here's one from Columbia. Right here, Columbia Outlet one. This one's a little heavier, but depending if you're boating, this would be better because you might be cool out there on the water.
you and I hadn't really talked about this, but I'm not surprised that you just happen to have the perfect little accessories right by your
I
finger.
do. One more thing, they have pants. Now these are not, I have some white ones like this. I got these on Amazon and I'm in love with these. These are by Coolie Bar. I have little white ones and then they tie like almost like harem pants. Really cute, really light, like parachute material. So you don't feel hot when you're out in the sun, yet you're protected.
Wow,
Crazy,
I love
right?
that. Okay, so the last thing you're going to talk about a hat, right?
Yeah, I got hats. So inside a hat, like this Coolie Bar hat, see it says Coolie Bar on it.
Okay.
This is SPF hat. So you want to make sure your hat, and then I have another one here.
I didn't even realize that the hats could be SPF.
Yes. You just want to make sure it's a broad,
so cute.
Right? How cute. And it's packable.
Fold up and travel.
Mm-hmm. You want to make sure it's broad around so it protects your face because we all do this, me included. If I'm taking my doggies for a walk, I have my favorite hat ever, but guess what?
Baseball hat.
For my sun damage, my bad haired hat. Here's where it gets sun damage because it's not covered.
That's my spot right there.
Yep, right there. So you want to, as much as we love our baseball hats, ladies, and it is good for this part of your face, it does not protect this. But then again, something is better than nothing. So I'm not here to judge. I'm just here to help you. Maybe you can go one step further. That's all. That's pretty much.
You are a wealth of information, Mary. And I love how you had the visuals. I mean, to see, is it a teaspoon or a tablespoon of how much you're supposed to put on your face?
Okay.
Well, that's body, right?
Okay, this is your body. This is your face. So the size of a nickel,
Wow.
That's a lot. So when people always say to me, well, what about my foundation? Well, yay, that your foundation has some SPF in it, but you're not putting on this much foundation or you're going to look crazy. So bottom line is.
Why are you wearing foundation in the summer? And I mean, you're going to the beach, right? You're supposed to, no foundation. I don't wear makeup in the summer.
Right. And not only that, we should all be wearing our sunscreen every day. Every day we should be putting this much on winter, spring, summer, and fall. And I do. And even though I do, I still tan and I just have a lot of melanin in my skin, but our skin is getting thinner and it will burn easier and get damaged. So bottom line is, just try to do your best and if you're putting some on, just remember you probably need a little more than you think you do. That's
and it's every 2 hours.
Every 2 hours. Now this, I think they should personally, their way of calibrating is really very confusing and hopefully one day in the future, they will come up with an easier way and better topicals that won't be as cumbersome, shall we say. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be nice. That's a goal, right?
Right. Right. Yeah. So Mary, can we talk about your facial product, the one that has the sunscreen built right in. Now that's the one you wear year round, right?
Right. So I wear my Best Friend Forever Botanical Day Cream year round. And this has botanicals and moisturizers in it. And this is, so anytime you're doing your facial routine, your sunscreen is your last step during the day. Think of your daytime routine as your protection routine. Your nighttime is repair, your daytime is protection. But this is the last step in the daytime routine. And I know
In there, like last step before the makeup.
last step before the makeup. Last step before the makeup, as far as routines and then your makeup. Now with this particular one, it has the zinc dioxide, which is a physical sunscreen. So it's going to have a little white, but you just rub it in your hands a little bit and then just let it sit on your face and it will sink in and it will get rid of the white. It comes on a little white initially, but then it sinks in and it goes away. It dissipates. But there's many out there if people find, whatever works for them, but you want to make sure you wear sunscreen every day, every day, every day on your face and your décolleté. Yeah. So
Thank
that's pretty
you so
much sunscreen. Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you for all these amazing tips. Any last, besides what you just said, make sure you wear it any day. Any last little suggestions for people?
Yeah. So if you're going to the beach and you have your big honker sunscreen here, plus your Best Friend Forever, make sure you put them in a cooler, like if you have a cooler, or in the shade, because these can break down in the heat, especially, really hot days. The chemicals are, just the formulations aren't, made for extreme heat. So if you can, and you have a little room in your cooler along with your nice cocktails or whatever you got in there, fit them in as well. And it just will keep them better.
Here.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm glad I could share with you guys.
Thank you so much. And we'll go ahead and we'll put the link. We'll put the link actually to your face, to what you call it, your best friend, right?
Best Friend Forever Botanical Day Cream with SPF 30.
The link to that in a
Yay.
Facebook group below this when we post this. Again, Mary McGovern, thank you so much from Skin Health Plus for sharing all your amazing tips. I feel like I want to go reapply some sunscreen on my face.
You're right.
I'm not really sure what I have on.
Well, thank you for having me, and everyone have a fabulous summer, and just be safe, and just remember, always apply a little bit more than you think you should. I swear, it's amazing. All right, well, thank you.
Thanks again, Mary.
Have a good one, you guys. Take care. Bye, Gina.